So we're going to look at the mark scheme for the January 2019 paper, question 27, which is the 8 mark question. The first thing to remember is that with this, you need to take into account everything that you have learned from section B. All the stems, you can bring in anything that's relevant from any of the other questions, and that forms your context. So this question was that your market research suggests that the winter months are the quietest for weddings, and this focuses on photography. To attract more customers during this quiet period, you plan to use sales promotion techniques. You are considering either a discount of 15% off your standard prices or buy one get one free for any photographs purchased in the winter months. So the first thing that you need to think about is the context. This is wedding photography. Wedding photography is a one-off purchase. You buy the photo for your wedding. It is not something you do continuously. You do not share that discount with somebody else. You do not buy one wedding and get one wedding free. It is about the actual prints. So you need to think carefully about the context here. And context is the biggest problem. So the actual question part here is recommend which of these two sales promotion techniques you should use. Justify your answer. So before we look at the actual mark scheme, we're going to look at what the examiner's report says. So remember that this report is compiled of a range of observations from the people marking the exam. It's what they know, and they have the statistics about marks awarded and can see why things have happened and pick up trends. So unfortunately what they've said in this is that people didn't really do very well at it, and that is because it's the one question that requires the use of context from the stem, so the question itself and the previous questions, and that's really important. You can bring in previous questions. They said that the most popular mark by some margin was 4, and I would echo that. And this is because many answers showed an understanding of 15% discount and buy one get one free, but without any reference at all to the context, other than the passing mention of photograph or wedding. It is not enough to just say, a discount of 15% on photographs. That's not enough. It's got to be applied. Some answers then became confused with context, thinking it would be about a second marriage for the customer or passed on to a friend, and I'd reiterate that I saw that a couple of times. They talk here about high ability responses did make use of context, for example by questioning how buy one get one free may fit within the image of wedding photography, or whether a new business, which is what you are, would be able to afford 2 sets of costs for only one payment, because remember, buy one get one free is actually essentially a 50% discount. And that is something that a lot of people picked up on within the responses I saw. A longer list of possible contextual issues are in the mark scheme, and I'll show you that in a minute. To gain 7 or 8 marks, a decision must be made. And it says there for either option, there isn't a right or wrong, it's your viewpoint. And that must be based on and justified by the analysis you've used before. Exemplar 6 contains context of both options and comes to a justified decision. I'll show you that once I've showed you the mark scheme. And then I'll show you exemplar 7, which is a brilliant answer. It's spot on. It makes decisions. It shows a good understanding, but it doesn't have any reference to the business, and it could apply to virtually any business. I would reiterate that from some of the things I've seen, that actually you give me a lot of theory, a lot of very accurate theory, but because it's not applied, you can't achieve above 4 marks. And if it had context, I could give 8, which is a lot of marks to use. Okay, so this is the mark scheme. So remember that this indicative content is the kinds of things that they're looking for in the responses. It's not an extensive list, there could be more, but these are the kind of things that the mark scheme suggests. So discounts of 15%. All customers benefit from that discount. It's dead easy to calculate. It's quite often that it will draw people in to purchase and may help with the business's reputation, because weddings are expensive. Where this works well is you've got to factor in the reasons for wedding photography being less popular in winter. It's because people are worried about weather, they're worried about cold, they tend to prefer that the pictures are sunny and bright and cheerful. People tend to get married in the summer for a variety of reasons. Buy one, get one free. Customers feel like they're getting something extra. You might benefit from economies of scale, which would sort of take away some of that loss in profit. It can help the business move slow moving stock, so less popular frames. So you could offer buy one, get one free, but only on certain products. And customers may end up having extra prints that they do not need, wasting environmental resources. People might not see the value in it. They only want one print, they don't want 2. So what is the point in that? Okay, so remember that this question is marked at a level response. So level 1 identifies an advantage or a disadvantage about one or both sales promotion techniques, realistically both. And then level 2 explains that point made. So if you start off with a point from the mark scheme at this side and then go on to explain it, you're going to get, a good couple of marks there. Realistically, it is both sales promotion techniques, and what I'm seeing is an increase in people using paragraphs, and that's a really good exam technique. Level 5 then analyses at least one sales promotion technique in context. It's underlined in the mark scheme because it's important. If it's not in context, they can't award level 3. Okay, that's the technique of using however. So you've given maybe an advantage and explain that, and then you give the other side, however, this might happen. Okay, so that sort of however allows that analysis. And then level 4 is where you must come to a decision. So a separate paragraph evaluates at least one method by justifying your choices, but you also have to justify what you're rejecting. And it says here, award the bottom mark of each level if only one of the techniques is considered. So you realistically have to write about both in order to gain 8 marks. So where it says here, one or both, it's both. Okay, you've got to do, in this case, a paragraph about 15% discounts, a paragraph about buy one, get one free, and then a judgment. Make a decision and justify what you're choosing and what you are rejecting. I'll briefly show you this available context, although it's hard because you haven't done the full paper. So some things here, you are a new business, you are a sole trader, which is information you found out earlier, but you know you're a new business because I've provided that part of it. Specific examples related to the wedding and photography market. you know, there's an expectation of price. That's, you know, common knowledge. It's an expectation that things are good. You might think about segmentation. This is, you know, things from earlier on in the paper, and references to question 2A and 2B. Pricing, you know, winter being the quietest time of the year. That's just something you can take from the actual question. And then it says here, context must be used to aid analysis or evaluation rather than just stating. So that's why they're talking about not just saying wedding photography at every point, although it's probably a good thing to get into. It's actually using that. So using the fact it's a new business, or that winter is quiet, or whatever, in order to answer that question properly. So one of the really, really good things about this exam paper is it gives you an example response as well as the responses that are in the report. For some people, what I'm picking up is that there's a lot going on in answers, probably too much. So this is a concise answer, and it's very to the point. You've only got a certain amount of time in an exam. Excuse me. So this is an example from the exam board. A 15% discount is easy to implement. That's your level 1 advantage, your fact. And customers may feel that they are getting a bit better deal. That's level 2, that's taking it that step further. This increase in demand, this may increase demand by helping to encourage people to have their wedding at a less popular time. So that's what happens as the result. However, and there's that key word, there is a risk that customers may not be too interested in price when choosing my wedding photography services in the winter, as it is a special event, and they are more interested in the quality of my service rather than price. Okay, because if you think, that's putting it in context. You know, weddings are supposed to be this most special day of your life. Is a 15% discount enough to make somebody change from their dream date to a winter date? Buy one get one free will involve me giving customers a second photograph for every one sold. That's your fact. This will result in customers obtaining more for their money than normal. As a new business, this is a costly technique which will affect profits. Okay, so that new business bit there is that context. And, you know, it is going to take a bigger hit on your finances overall. I would choose 15% discount for my business. I am a new business and I am unknown to customers. The lower price will encourage customers to try my photography services and compensate for the chance of less good weather. So again, pulling in that context of, you know, compensating for why you wouldn't have your wedding in the winter months. Okay, so looking at another good example, this, if you remember from when we discussed the examiner's report, they said this was one of the best ones they'd seen. So if you use a discount of 15%, this will attract your target market, as weddings in general will be expensive. Context. So using a discount will be a way of differentiating your services to others like your competitors, so setting you apart. However, so it's that good use of however to provide analysis. A discount would mean you are making less profit compared to it being at full price, but if it encourages sales, as it is a sales promotion technique, it will be positive. That was paragraph 1. Moving on to paragraph 2. If you were to use buy one get one free, this will also attract customers, as the word free suggests they are getting something additional to what they paid for. This will help raise sales for the quiet periods of time, but only for a short period of time. However, using such sales promotion techniques could be damaging to your photography service, as customers may think it has become cheap, damaging your reputation, which could result in competitors benefiting from it. Also, sales promotions are temporary. So now you've got your sort of justification. I would recommend the 15% discount as it does the right actions, as the purpose of the type of sales promotion is to increase activity for the quiet times. So 15% will be attractive to customers, which will encourage them to hire, but most importantly, it will not be largely damaging to the service's reputation compared to the other types of sales promotion. Okay, so exemplar 7 then is an accurate answer. It's just very generic, and you'll see the difference. The advantages for 15% discount is that I will gain more customers, leading to more sales and maybe profit. Also, another advantage is that people I sell to may promote me to other people. That's accurate. A disadvantage is that I will have to say a bit more to gain the same, sell a bit more to gain the same amount of revenue. I'm not selling the product at my normal selling price. Also, people might only buy my product when it is on sale. Facts are right, but they buy when it's only on sale. You don't buy, wedding photography the way you buy, bags of pasta or tins of beans. It's a one-off purchase. So they haven't thought about the context of this question. The advantages for buy one get one free is that I will gain a lot of customers, leading to more sales and revenue. Another advantage is that my product and business will go into maturity. The disadvantage of buy one get one free are that my business will have to produce more, which will lead to making a loss. For every one product it sells, I give another one for free. Later on, my business will go into decline when the sale is finished. We've tried to pull in the product life cycle here and not done it particularly well, but the general gist is right, that you are given one for free and you are going to make less money. Not necessarily a loss, but less money. In my opinion, I would choose 15% of the discount because I'm not giving away one for free for every purchase. I'm selling it for a bit cheaper, but I'm receiving more revenue and more profit from the 15% than buy one get one free. So a great decision, rationally explained, but just generic. That could be for anything. There is nothing that suggests that's to do with wedding photography, and that context prevents getting above 4 marks.